Hi, everyone. My name is Mariana Perez, and I'm a Park Interpreter Specialist for California State Parks. I'm just going to take a few more minutes before we start to hopefully gather more of you guys to tune in to today's Coast to Couch webinar. And here's the beautiful view. Hi, everyone. My name is Mariana Perez, and I'm a Park Interpreter Specialist for California State Parks. Super excited to be here with you all. Just gonna take a couple more minutes to hopefully other people to join into this Coast to Couch webinar about sea otter adaptation. And those are some sea otters right behind me. It's a little bit windy today, so hopefully I'm speaking loud enough for you guys to hear me. It's a sunny day in Morro Bay. There's not that many clouds up. The fog is kind of rolling in. Might be able to see it a little bit. I'm at Morro Rock right now in Morro Bay State Park. Again, my name is Mariana Perez, and I'm a Park Interpreter Specialist for California State Parks. And we'll just begin the program in just a few more minutes. Give you another scan of Morro Bay. All right. Hi, everyone. Just enjoying another beautiful day at Morro Bay State Park. Super excited to be here with you all for a Coast to Couch webinar. So it's our third one of the Coast to Couch webinar series. So super excited. Here are the sea otters in Morro Bay, and we're going to learn about sea otter adaptation in this program. All right. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that we do have a Q&A section. So if you have any questions during these programs, you can type your question through that box. But we also, you can communicate with us through our Facebook page at Morro Bay State Parks. You can DM us or just comment on the event that we posted about this Coast to Couch webinar event. And you can also DM us through Instagram at Morro Bay State Parks as well. And then another information to let you guys know is that we will be doing an activity, a drawing activity for this program. So give you a few moments to gather your materials, which would be just a piece of paper and a pen or pencil or marker, or any type of writing utensil. And we'll begin in a little bit. All right, I think it's time to get started. So again, my name is Mariana Perez, and I'm a Park Interpreter Specialist for California State Parks, and this is the Coast to Couch webinar series. Today we're featuring Sea Otter Adaptation. And the Coast to Couch webinar series is trying to feature our park's amazing natural and cultural resources in the San Luis Obispo Coast District. Now, our district encompasses about 40 miles of central coastline in California. And that includes mountainous terrain, coastal bluffs, beaches, and multiple state parks. But today, we are visiting Morro Bay State Park. Now, we're gonna imagine California. Morro Bay is located in the central coast of California. And it is in between San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's about 4 hours south of San Francisco and 4 hours north of Los Angeles. And another cool fact I like to share about Morro Bay State Park is that it's actually one of the oldest state parks in the California State Park system. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, Morro Bay State Park is home to many different types of animals and plants, and there are a lot of threatened and endangered species that live here. And people all over the world come to visit Morro Bay State Park because of its diversity. And so today, we're going to learn about one special marine mammal that lives in Morro Bay, and that is the Southern Sea Otter, which is right behind me. Now, earlier I mentioned that the Southern Sea Otter is a marine mammal. Does anyone know what a marine mammal is? Well, let's break it down. Marine means ocean, and mammal is a warm-blooded animal. We are mammals. So, as a sea otter is a marine mammal means that it spends the majority of its life in the ocean. As you can see, our Southern Sea Otter friends are in the ocean. And it's okay if you've never seen a sea otter or you don't even know what a sea otter is, because that's why you are here on this program. You're trying to learn about the Southern Sea Otter. Now, to give you an idea of what a Southern Sea Otter looks like, I'm going to let you know that the Southern Sea Otter is related to weasels and skunks. That's pretty crazy. And I'm going to give you another scan and try to zoom in to the sea otters. Now, they're super hard to see here. So I'm going to quickly pop up a photo of what a sea otter looks like, and you can tell me if you think it looks similar to a skunk or a weasel. And I have a picture of all three of them right here that you're viewing. I don't know, I think they kind of look similar. What do you guys think? All right. So the southern sea otter is a threatened species, which means that its population is very vulnerable to the changes in its environment. Currently, there are about 3,000 southern sea otters, but here in Morro Bay, there's about 40 individuals, and you are seeing a couple of them right behind me. I think there's about 20 in this raft, and a raft is a group of sea otters, that's what we call them, a sea otter raft. And in this case, most of the individuals in Morro Bay in this raft are females, which are pretty cool. And you may be able to see sea otters in other locations, not just Morro Bay. Their range is from north of Monterey to north of Santa Barbara. And so we're kind of in the middle of that range as well. That's super cool. All right. So now it's time to learn about sea otter adaptation. So I'm going to do a quick exercise with you guys before we get started. And I'm going to have you close your eyes. All right. I hope you're closing your eyes. I can't see you, but I hope you are. All right. So we're going to imagine that we're going to spend the day in the ocean. Now the ocean's really cold, so you might want to think about what type of items would you be wearing if you were to live in the ocean for a day? What would you put on your face to help you see in the ocean? What are types of food that you would collect from the ocean, and how would you find your food? Awesome, you can open your eyes now. So those are some things that we might want to be thinking about when we're learning about how sea otters have survived in this cold environment. And so to do so to learn how sea otters have adapted to this cold environment, we are going to build a sea otter by drawing. So earlier in this presentation, I mentioned collecting a few materials for this activity. So I'm going to give you a couple more moments to gather that. And that would just be a piece of paper and a pen or pencil or marker. And I'm just going to take some time to gather my stuff too. All right. So I have my piece of paper. I had to tape it onto a portable whiteboard. And I have a marker that I will be using. I'm going to use a brown marker. All right. So let's learn how sea otters have adapted to live in this chilly environment. And so to start, we're going to draw a circle in the upper portion of our paper. There we go. And that's going to represent our head. And just so you know, I am not an artist, so my drawing is going to be fun, but we draw or we create art to see, right? To get a better idea and understanding of what we're seeing. So there's my head. Then I'm going to draw kind of an oval underneath it, and that's going to represent the body of a sea otter. There we go. And one of the most important adaptations that sea otters have is fur. So I'm going to draw some fur on my sea otter body. All right, now we're gonna take some time to learn about the fur of the sea otter. Now, sea otters, unlike other marine mammals, so whales, dolphins, sea lions, elephant seals, don't store fat as blubber to keep warm in this environment. Instead, they have dense fur. In fact, they have the densest fur, or they have the most dense fur out of the entire animal kingdom. So how thick is this fur? Well, I'm gonna have you lift up the back of your hand, and we're gonna draw an imaginary square inch line onto the back of our hand. All right. So this is about a square inch on the back of my arm, and I'm going to keep tracing it. So now that we drew an imaginary square inch on the back of our hand, how many strands of hair do you think would be in a square inch of a sea otter body? And I'll just give you a couple minutes or a couple moments to kind of guess what you think, how many strands of hair in a square inch of a sea otter body? All right, there's about 1 million strands of hair on a sea otter body. That's a crazy amount. And just so you guys have a better idea of how much hair that is, we're gonna think about the amount of hair that's on the top of our head. Now, can you guys guess how many strands of hair are on the top of our head? Well, if you guessed 100,000 strands of hair, you would be correct. So we only have 100,000 strands of hair, but just on a square inch of a sea otter body, there's 1 million strands of hair. Now that fur doesn't cover the complete body of a sea otter, but it usually focuses, the main portion of the body. There's some other body parts that don't have as much fur as that 1 million per square inch that I just mentioned before. But that's a lot of fur. Now, within that fur, there's 2 different types of hairs. You have guard hairs, which allow the water to roll off the guard hair and roll off the sea otter body. And then you have the second type of fur, which is closest to the skin, and that is known as the underfur. Now, the underfur is kind of a softer feel, and it helps keep the sea otter very warm. And one way that a sea otter keeps its warmth is by putting air bubbles into that underfur, and that's called grooming. So a lot of the time when you see sea otters, they're spending the majority of their day grooming. In fact, we can kind of think of it like this. They groom and then they eat. Then they groom and they sleep. Groom, rest, groom, and repeat. So grooming is a huge daily activity that they do. So that is just another adaptation, a behavioral trait that they do to keep warm in this chilly environment. So now we're gonna go back to our drawing. So we have the head, body, and we drew some fur. And now I'm gonna draw some eyes and ears. Those are my eyes. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna draw some ears. And the next part that we're going to draw on our building a sea otter activity is the snout area. So I'm gonna draw a little triangle for the nose, and then draw the snout. Just like that. Maybe a little mouth. All right. Now, sea otters don't necessarily use their eyes and ears the same way that we do. So it's a chilly ocean water, and one way that they navigate through the murky bay. So this bay is very murky and it's kind of difficult to use their eyes in this bay, but that is also the same type of method they use when they're in the main ocean, and that the ocean is pretty murky, so it's kind of hard to navigate, so they use their whiskers. So we're gonna draw some whiskers on our sea otter. All right, so the whiskers are one way that sea otters navigate through the murky waters, and they're kind of like fingers. So if you want to get our fingers, we're going to put them towards our face and kind of move them. That's kind of like what sea otter whiskers do. They use it as a sense of touch to help them navigate through the murky waters and also to help them forage for food. Now, foraging for food could be difficult, right? If you don't necessarily have a great vision or your eyes aren't quite that helpful in this murky water. So like I said, they use their whiskers to help find food. And some of those tasty snacks that they like to eat are sea urchins, crabs, and mussels. And they eat a lot to help keep them warm in this chilly environment. So we're gonna imagine that a sea otter weighs about 100 pounds. Now, sea otters typically weigh about 45 to 60, but so we can help understand how much they eat, it's easier to say a sea otter is 100 pounds. So we're gonna imagine that our sea otter is 100 pounds. They eat 25 pounds of food, so 1/4 of their body weight, to maintain the warmth that they need to survive in the cold ocean. That's a lot of food. Just us, we eat about 3 to 4 pounds a day. So that's very small compared to our furry friends, the Southern Sea Otter. They have to eat quite a bit. And so, whiskers is one other adaptation that they use to survive and find food in the cold ocean. So now we're gonna go back to our drawing, and we are going to draw some paws and feet. So I'm gonna draw the paws right here. And then maybe I'll draw the feet right here. All right. That looks almost like our sea otter that we saw earlier. Or it looks like my stuffed version of a sea otter. All right. So the paws and feet don't have fur. They don't have that much fur compared to the rest of their body. But the paws are used to help forage and capture food. So that's another way. So not only are they using their whiskers, but they're using their paws to actually catch their prey. So those crabs, sea urchins, and mussels that I mentioned earlier, their favorite tasty snacks. And they also have hind feet, but these hind feet are webbed, almost like sea lions. So these webbed feet also don't have that much fur, but it helps them move throughout the water. Makes it easier than if we were to just have normal feet like ours. They're better adapted to swim in the ocean. And so a lot of the times, because paws and the webbed hind feet don't have fur, they lose a lot of heat to the ocean. So one way they behave to help keep that heat inside of their body and to survive in this chilly environment is to keep their paws and feet out of the water while they're resting. So a lot of the time, you can kind of see sea otters kind of keep their hands up like this, like pretend the ocean is right here and I'm just laying flat. And even when they rotate, they still keep their paws up. And I have a quick little view of a sea otter having their paws up, and it's through a scope, and that's easier way of seeing a sea otter. So that's what you're looking at. The paws are above the water in this case. And this picture was taken in Morro Bay. All right. And we're almost done with our sea otter drawing. And so the last but not least exercise is to draw a tail. I know that might be surprising to you guys, but sea otters do have tails. So I'm going to draw one right here. And that is my sea otter. So the tail is actually used to help swim in the ocean. It helps guide movement and also propel the sea otter. So this is my sea otter drawing, and thank you guys for building a sea otter with me. Really appreciate it, and hopefully you got a better understanding of how the sea otter survives in the ocean. And I want to let you guys know we would love to see your awesome sea otter drawings, so please feel free to post them on your social media and tag us. You can tag us at Morro Bay State Parks, or also just use the hashtag Coast2Couch. I'd love to see it. You guys can also color it in after the program is done, or while you're listening to me finish talking. All right. So we learned a lot about how the different physical characteristics and behavior of the sea otter allows them to live in the chilly ocean. So remember, they have really dense fur. They have whiskers that are almost used like our fingers to help navigate the murky ocean and to find food. And they also have webbed feet, so that way they can swim better in the ocean. And those are just a few of the different adaptations that they have to survive. So thank you again for building a sea otter with me. So as we've learned, these marine mammals are really unique, and they play an important role in Morro Bay ecosystem. And we want to make sure that they continue to thrive in this location. Now, earlier I said they're threatened, so we play an important role in protecting and keeping these sea otters safe and healthy in this wonderful environment. And even if you're not near Morro Bay, you can still help our southern sea otters over here. And you can do that by just picking up after yourself or picking up trash that you see on the ground. Every small action helps with protecting these furry friends of ours. And oh, I realize that the sea otters have moved. They're kind of dispersed throughout the bay over here. So like I said, every small action helps with protecting and keeping these sea otters safe and healthy. And again, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Coast to Couch webinar today, and that you learned a lot about sea otter adaptation. This is a new series, and we hope that you enjoyed it, and you continue to check our Facebook page at Morro Bay State Parks to learn about more of our park features that we have in the San Luis Obispo Coast District. And we appreciate all of your support, and stay safe and healthy during these challenging times. I know it's difficult to get outside or to come visit our parks, and so this is our way of bringing the parks to your home. So have a lovely rest of the day, and happy sea otter. Goodbye.